So for the weekly analysis, I'm going to start from the H4 time frame to get the overall direction. Then after that, we'll look at the H1 for intraday setups, then on M5 for the expected entries that we are going to have tomorrow. So there's no need for us to look at this price action from January. We just look at the most recent price action to get an idea of where price is coming from and where it's going. So here you can clearly see that price is bullish, right? There's an impulse move, then a pullback, then a pullback, then an impulse which did not take out this high here. So price might be changing to a bearish scenario because you can see price failed to go above this high, which is our swing high. So in terms of market structure, you can see the previous structure was so you can see this. We can start from here, this breakout structure. I'll start with this breakout structure right here, and after this breakout structure, price created a change of character, right? So usually when price created a change of character, we're supposed to see bearish moves from this point, but as you can see, price failed to hold up. Like these points of interest failed to hold price or failed to push price to a lower point, and that resulted in another change of character being created, right? So when this change of character was created, it meant price is bullish, and after the change of character is created, you can look for inducement, and after that you can look for your POIs, your points of interest. So you can see here price was moving in an impulse and pullbacks, impulse, pullbacks, right? So our last valid pullback is our inducement. So in this case, that would be this move right here. It's our inducement, and when price closed below this inducement, it means this point here become a valid high, right? And this point becomes a valid lower high when price creation of character here. So after you identified your inducement, you start to look for your POIs, your points of interest, and you can see that from here this order block was mitigated by this one. So this will be our extreme POI, point of interest, right? To look for bullish moves on the H4 time frame, this will be our extreme, and then the decisional would be this one because you can see it took out liquidity. This will be our decisional POI. Reason being, let me explain to you. You can see that this candle here took out liquidity of this previous candle here, and it created an imbalance above it. So this is our decisional point of interest. But you can see that price just created a reaction after tapping onto it, then went bullish. Then after that, price continued the bearish structure. So now that we understand, we're in a bullish move from the H4 time frame because of this change of character. But on the internal range, we're kind of bearish on the recent price action from last week. So this is the extreme point of interest. It's not decisional, it's extreme, right? So since this decisional POI failed to hold price, it means price is more likely to come to this extreme zone, right? Then continue bullish to give us a breakout structure on the H4 time frame. So if you see this happening, if we see price selling to this point here, it will just take out liquidity on these lows, and after sweep of this liquidity, we'll be looking for buy entries from this extreme POI, point of interest, right? So this is the setup on the H4 time frame, right? So now I'll just make this visible only to the H4 so that we can go on H1 and have a clean chart. This should be only visible on H1, H4. So now we have our directional bias on the H4. Price is overall bullish, but the internal structure is bearish, as you can see. So we're expecting price to continue bearish up until this extreme point of interest. So with that in mind, we can go to our H1 time frame. So on the H1 time frame, there's no need to look at this price action. We can just look at the most recent price action. Okay, what do we have here? So just look at this bearish move, right? So you can see as price was moving here, it created an impulse move, then a pullback, then an impulse. Then this was a inducement taken out, and after this inducement taken out, this point here becomes a valid lower low, and after it's taken out, the breakout structure appeared here, right? So the breakout structure will be officially where price close the full body candle close at this point. This is not a valid breakout structure because it's only a week and this is a week. So the official breakout structure will be at this point, but I'm just going to indicate it here because all of you know like it will be here, but it's too small to indicate a breakout structure. Then after that, you can see price continue to give us impulse move and pullbacks, and this was the last valid pullback that price created from this zone, like impulse, pullback, then impulse. So this pullback becomes our inducement, right? So we mark this as our inducement, and the moment the inducement is taken out, that validates a new lower low, which is this one, right? And after the lower low is taken out, price creates a breakout structure, right? So this is not a breakout structure, reason being there's no any inducement taken out here, but here we have inducement taken out, meaning this now a valid record structure, right? So now what happens again, you can see price continue to go down, and here price did not manage to create any pullback, any adjustment, I mean. So the only adjustment we have at this point is this one. This is the only adjustment we have, and we have another adjustment at the top as well, which is the extreme adjustment, this one, right? So now if we go back to the, let me make this visible only to H1. Right. So now if we go back to the H4, you can see that we have this bias that we're expecting price to continue pushing to a lower price, right, to get to this extreme POI. Then we can go bullish. So if you are looking for bearish moves on the H4, it means on the H1 we should also be looking for bearish moves up until price reach this target here. But then if we go to the H1, you can see price is in a bearish momentum and it creating adjustment, right? So what I'm anticipating is price is going to sell from this adjustment. If that fails, then you'll be selling from this adjustment, right? So if price fails to sell from this adjustment, we can look for entries at this extreme, this decisional order block. We can look for shorts here. So I'm just mapping out where price will potentially reverse from. But for entries, we will look at the M5 to get entry confirmation. The H1 is just for directional bias on this extreme order block, right? So these are the points where we can potentially short AUDUSD from, because we know on the H4 it's bearish. So this is my view on H4 and H1. Now going to the M5, we'll be looking for entries. I will just use the analysis that I've already done on AUDUSD broker. So on AUDUSD broker, the last setup I shared hit a stop loss, and that resulted in creation of a record structure. And our new adjustment would be here, which is already taken out. If you look closely, our adjustment is taken out. So when this adjustment is taken out, there's this point here. There's a valid lower low on the M5, and the highest point responsible for taking out this record structure, this one becomes a valid higher low, right? So now we have this structure point right now, our dealing range on the M5. So for us to understand, we can go to H1, and then we can mark our point of interest, make it also visible on the, so that's our first point of interest. So if we go to M5, we can see that this the highest point we have on M5, this one, it's an adjustment on H1 time frame, right? So if on H1 we see price coming here, it will just do a liquidity grab on this adjustment, something like this, then start selling to maintain the bearish momentum on the M5, because on M5 price is bearish, as you can see, because of this record structure. So we may see price coming to this swing high on the M5, and after the swing high, price might create a liquidity grab, and just you can take shorts after the liquidity is taken out and we have a clear reversal price action, and then you can sell from here, right? So this is the first point of interest on M5. So if this fails, it means then again this setup yet fails, and the next setup we'll be looking at is this decisional order block. And if you're looking at this decisional order block, what it means is a change of character will be created here on M5. So we have a change of character, then we can start looking for buy positions from these zones, targeting this next point of interest on the H1. So now that you have a clear understanding of that, we are bearish on H4, bearish on H1, then also bearish on M5. So what we should be looking for when the market opens is for sell positions from this adjustment. But if that fails, then we'll be looking for sell positions from here. But before these sell positions, we'll be looking for buy positions after change of character on the M5. So basically, this is it on the AUDUSD. Throughout the week, I'll be sending M5 setups in the Discord, and I'll be explaining everything. So this is it for AUDUSD. Now I'll look at the euro dollar again using IC markets, because I haven't done any analysis on IC markets. So again, I'll start from the H4 time frame. So on the H4 time frame, even without analysis, you can clearly see that price is bullish because of this very huge bullish push here on the external range. But on the internal range, you might see price creating a bearish momentum. So here you can see price was moving in impulse and pullbacks, and here it created the first adjustment which got taken out, and after that adjustment, price created a valid higher low. Right after this higher low, you can see price. So on the H4, this is the last adjustment which is just got taken out right here, and we have a small imbalance which was filled as well, right? So with this understanding in mind, you can see that price is clearly bullish on H4 on the euro dollar. This is our valid record structure. right? So after price took out inducement at this point, you may be asking like, why is this not the valid breakout structure? This is inducement taken out, right? But this was our initial high when price took out inducement. But as you can see, price failed to close above this point, the full body candle close. So what it means is this high is transferred from this point to this point, where price eventually created a breakout structure because of this full body candle closure, right? So this is our dealing range on the H4 time frame, and you can see price is currently around the 75% level. So if you want to take swing trades, you can just take a buy position on the market opens with your stop loss right below the dealing range, which is this lower high, and the target will be this high. But this is for the H4 time frame, and I'm a day trader, so I'll be going to the H1 time frame to get a more clear understanding. So on the H1, you can see price is in a bearish momentum, right? In this, from this highest point to this lowest point we currently have. And because we have a bullish sentiment on the H4, we'll be looking for bullish moves as well on the H1. So how do we look for bullish moves? You can see that from this high, price did not take out any adjustment. There's no any adjustment taken out except for this one. So this is the last adjustment taken out. And when this adjustment was taken out on the H1 internal range, you can see this is our new lower low, and price created a breakout structure right after that lower low, right? So our dealing range is from this lower high, and here price did not create any adjustment. So if you see price going in a bearish push without creating any adjustment and price creates a reversal, it's more likely to create a breakout structure. Reason being, there is no any adjustment here, so the adjustment becomes the previous higher low, which is this one, right? So my anticipation for the H1 time frame is price is going to take out this adjustment, and it will be acting as a change of character because there is no any adjustment created in between this move. And if that happens, we'll be looking for bullish moves. When price create an adjustment, they need to mitigate any of the order blocks or point of interest that will be created in these zones, and we can take buy entries from here. So this will be in line with our H4 direction, because on H4 we're looking for bullish moves. Reason being, price is bullish, and on H1 we'll be looking also for bullish moves, but only after price create a change of character here. Before the change of character, we should not be looking for any bullish moves. So for intraday setups, we'll go to the M5, and for this I'll just use the charts that I have analysis on already, which is Oanda. So on Oanda, we can see price failed to create a breakout structure here last week, and it resulted in a liquidity grab, and price created a change of character here. So now this is where it gets confusing, right? Because on H1 you're looking for bullish moves, on H4 you're looking for bullish moves, but on H5 you're looking for bearish moves because of this change of character. So what I would recommend is to wait for price to react on the M5, and then wait for this extreme order block. So what might happen usually is if this happens like on H4, you're looking for bullish, H1 bullish, but M5 bearish, you should wait for price to create at least one breakout structure to confirm, because everything starts from the lower time frames to the higher time frames. So on the if price is not aligning on all your time frames like H4, H1, M5, if there's no alignment, then the only thing you can do is wait until price give you a clear alignment on the H4, H1, and M5. So for now on EU, I wouldn't recommend taking any entry until you have alignment of all the time frames in one direction. So yeah, basically this is it for EU and AU. If you have any questions or any other pair you want me to analyze, you can type in the chat, and this recording will be available on my website, I think as soon as we finish this session.